Yes, hello folks, welcome. One for the comic book fans and the tabletop fans today. We're going to be taking a closer look in this video at the Marvel United X-Men Games core set. We're going to do an unboxing and have a closer look at the bits and bobs inside. Okay then, here we go, let's get into it. Here is the Marvel United X-Men core set from the Kickstarter. And before we open it up and get into the guts inside, let's just take a moment to soak up the wonderful cover. I'm loving the artwork here that's involved with the Marvel United games. They've got this kind of cutesy but not so cutesy, super deformed, kind of cartoony interpretation of the characters, but it's very dynamic, it's vivid, it's colourful, got lots of action and energy about it. Really loving that, and it gives the game a lot of shelf presence. So well done Spin Master Games, well done CMON, but certainly a big well done to Edward Guiton, I want to say. Apologies for the mispronunciation there if I'm getting that incorrect, but loving your work, Edward. Great stuff. So yeah, lots of shelf presence, gives it lots of box lift, and I'm really appreciating that. Hopefully when we get to the contents inside, that will continue. If we take a quick look at the back, you'll see pretty much what you would expect from any board game off the shelf, really. A bit of blurb, a bit of salesy speak there. In the battle for mutant acceptance, the Brotherhood of Mutants see themselves as superior to ordinary people, hatching villainous plans to bend mankind to their will. But the X-Men uphold the principle that mutants and humans should live as equals and rise to meet every challenge. They'll travel the world in a desperate struggle to protect the innocent, face down dire threats, and confront these villains once and for all. As the fate of mankind hangs in the balance, the X-Men will stand united. Yeah, lovely, great. So a great bit of blurb there. Then we've got some shots of the components, some gameplay here, and all the figures that are included. Bit of a description of the gameplay, then all the legalese, all the legal malarkey there. So folks, please don't put the little figures, don't be eating them, try not to choke yourself on them. Then the components, the list of components in multiple languages, and then the kind of particulars, if you will. It's age 14 plus recommended, and 1 to 5 players. So there we go. And then the sides, if I just sort of do it there, continue to use the artwork to give it lots of colour and energy. There's Cyclops and Mystique on that side there. Is it Cyclops and Mystique on the other side? Yeah, there we go. So there is the cover, the outer bit of the box, which I think is wonderful. Very happy with that. Let's open it up and have a look at the guts inside. Okay, I'd already pre-popped the cellophane before recording the video, just as to take that small inconvenience away. But let's get into it. Let's see what we got included in the package then. So I'll slide the lid off there. Pop that down there for a minute. So here we go, the rule book first. Let's have a quick peek at this. I've not kind of widescreened my video enough, but yeah, great. All the kind of continues the artwork. Free achievements booklet, QR code, have a look at that. So it looks straightforward enough. It doesn't look too long and overcomplicated. Lots of illustrations to help guide you through the gameplay and how to play the game. So I appreciate that, definitely. Very colourful, looks like an easy read. Everything's broken down into nice little subsections to make it clear and comprehensive. I'll obviously engage with that in a lot more detail. I did have a quick peek over Spin Master stroke CMON's own gameplay videos that they showed, the instructional videos that were on the Kickstarter. And then we got a rules summary with the turn order there on the back, so that's nice. Nice little package there. Then it looks like we've got a couple of sheets of tokens. Looks like it's a very token-intensive game. So if you're not a fan of having lots of little biddies, then this might not be the game for you. I kind of, sometimes I'm into it, sometimes I'm not. We'll see. I suppose the gameplay will determine how much we like that. I'm getting the feeling like maybe the grey's the superhero stuff and the black's the villainous stuff, but obviously not having played it as of yet, I'm not so sure. Then into the main juicy bit. So we've got this plastic insert here, although that doesn't seem to be sitting flat there. I don't know what that's all about. But we've got the figures included in the core set across the top there. And then it looks like we've got all the kind of cardboardy bits in this bottom section here. So we'll slide off the top lid. Lovely jubbly. Then a row of figures across the top all... Oh, yeah, look, so it's all kind of moulded around the shape of the figures, so each one seems to have their own individual slot. We'll have a much closer look at these in a moment. Let's have a look down here. So we've got... What's this here? This looks like the missions, maybe, or the locations in which the combat with the Brotherhood takes place. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those in there. All very popular X-Men related locations like Muir Island, Genosha, the X-Jet, Asteroid M, the Weapon X facility, the Sentinel space station, the hangar bay where the X-Jet sits, and obviously the Xavier Institute for Higher Learning. Of course, you have to include that. It looks like from the other side, on the other side, we've just got the kind of logo piece there. So let's pop that to one side. Next little bundle here. Does that slide off like it did before? No, it looks like I'm going to have to cut that off. So these are the villain or anti-hero cards, because the colour coding on the figures actually, so the purples are the anti-heroes, the reds are just purely villainous, and then the blues are the heroes. So we've got Magneto here, that's his info card, with some additional special rules and information on the back there. Mystique, same again, special rules and extra information. Juggernaut, with his special rules and extra information, and Sabretooth there. We'll take a closer look at those when we have a look at the figures in a minute. And then we've got the villain dashboard here. Let me just take that piece off there. The villain dashboard, with the Marvel United on the other side. And then the decks of cards. Little time jump there. I got a little knife out to cut that. I tell you what though, right, just as a guy who's bought a lot of decks of cards in my lifetime, or games with decks of cards in, can every manufacturer please put the little thumb strip, or start packaging them in more environmentally friendly packaging, please? There we go. But if we open up that there, drop the rubbish over there. So it looks like every character has their own little sub-deck. So we've got Beast cards there. We'll have a look at those in a minute when we look at the character in more detail. Cyclops' cards. Jean Grey's, Magneto's, Mystique's, Professor X, Storm, Wolverine, so all the key characters there. And then, so this is must be the villain cards. Obviously, I have to use the Stan Lee knife. Plastic off this. Drop the rubbish over there. And then we've got Magneto, and that's his villainous deck. Threat cards, Mystique, threat cards, Juggernaut, and his threat cards, and Sabretooth, along with his threat cards. Who else have we got in here? And then supervillain deck, superhero deck, the challenges, and the whatever these are. Use Cerebro, clear threats, rescue villains, and defeat thugs, which all fit very nicely into these little card slots in the plastic insert there, with little finger slots to aid the removal of the decks of cards. Oh, and a little shiny cube. I've only just noticed that. There we go, little shiny cube. All right, well, that's the kind of the innards, but let's get to the bit that we're all waiting for, really. Certainly me. Let's have a closer look at these lovely minifigures, shall we? So, as promised, here is the closer look at the minifigures and at the character components here. We're starting with the anti-heroes, so I've got Magneto on screen for you over there, so you can take a closer look at the sculpt and enjoy the quality of the figure. Magneto as an anti-hero can play the part of villain or hero within the game. This is why he comes with two decks. This one here with the orangey background behind the character is his villain deck that goes along with these threats here, and then you've got his hero deck if you want to use him as a hero. This one's quite nice. It's got some extra artwork that we've not seen before, like him floating through the air, like him doing magnetic electricity things. We've got the old classic Magneto Messiah complex pose, I think there's another one, and yes, there's one there that kind of replicates what's going on in the minifigure, which is a great sculpt. I'm sure you'll agree, as you can see it rotating around over there. I love the motion and energy, the action that's taking place in the minifig with all the rebar and the metal pieces that he's drawing out the concrete in the ground. Lots of lovely details, the cape, the way it hangs. So really impressed with the sculpt of the minifigure there, and hopefully you are too from the look at it. So that piece of artwork on the card there is reflective of the minifig. And then we've got his villain card here with all his special rules and whatnot from before. So yeah, there you go. There's the Magneto components and the Magneto figure. This side? Yes, this side. So next in the anti-heroes we have Mystique. Same deal as with Magneto. She can fulfill a hero function or a villain function in your team, and therefore we've got 2 decks, a villain deck and a hero deck. The villain deck there has got the kind of grey purpley background behind the character and has got all her villainous actions, which is then accompanied by the villain threat deck. And then you've got the hero deck here, which has got the artwork on with her various hero actions. Mystique flying through the air, Mystique doing a flying kick, Mystique transforming using her metamorphosis powers. Is that the right terminology? And then Mystique just that's the one that replicates the minifigure. Something interesting there I noticed. I'll have to kind of engage with it a bit more, but she's got 2 cards that go in her starting hand, which is her metamorph power, which is interesting, curious. And then her villain card here with all the extra rules, special rules, and stat information for use in the game. Got the minifigure over there rotating around. Another great looking minifigure. Lots of detail in the sculpt, lots of dynamic action going on. Really well communicated by the minifigure there. I love the skull belt. The sculpt of the skull belt there, a nice little bit of attention to detail that's evident in the minifigure, and kind of the way her hair and her dress are sort of sweeping as the action's taking place. So really impressed with that one. Really like Mystique, and I think it's very appropriate to have her as an anti-hero character in the game as well. Next up, we're going to take a look at the heroes, and we've got Cyclops as the team leader there. Hero cards just come with one single hero deck, with the artwork on the back and the coloured background, and then their various actions on the main text on the other side. So we've got some lovely artwork in there. Cyclops leaping into action, Cyclops using his optic blast ability, Cyclops being the team leader, bossing the rest of the X-Men round, and then we've got the card image that replicates the minifigure, which I've got rotating for you over on the far side of the screen there. So yeah, lovely looking cards. I like the graphic design. Really got a comic booky vibe, and the colour schemes really suit the theme and style of the Marvel United game. And then one thing I just noticed with Cyclops, although I'm pretty sure it's probably been on the other decks that I've looked at so far, I love these little character graphics in the top corner of the deck as well. Just really cute, really on point, really on theme. Again, just the right tone for the Marvel United game. And then the minifigure. I mean, I don't know what to say, really. I'm going to be repeating myself a great deal. I love how they've sculpted them to really communicate the energy and the dynamic and the motion and the action that's taking place with the figures. They are sculpted with a lovely attention to detail. Cyclops particularly, like his visor and his pouches, his old Jim Lee style pouches around the belts, and the kind of rubble on the floor in the midst of battle. And he, of course, is sculpted in the blue to indicate that he's part of the hero team. But yeah, another great sculpt. I'm going to stop banging on about the sculpts, because I think, should we just say that from this point forward, we all agree that it's got this lovely, super deformed, chibi sculpt style with a nice attention to detail, and that be that, you know what I mean? Okay, so we've taken a look at Cyclops as the team leader in the field, but now we've got Professor X, the founder and mentor of the X-Men. He's on the hero side, so as you can see, he's moulded in the blue colour scheme. And like other heroes, he comes with a small hero deck with some additional artwork. There's definitely a theme to the Professor X artwork as we look through there. He is placing fingers on his temple to indicate clearly that he is using his telepathy or his telekinetic abilities. So here's Professor X, I don't know, reading someone's mind or taking control of someone or moving something with his mind. I think the hand sticking out would indicate maybe he's moving something with his mind. You then have him holding his head with both fingers to indicate that he's perhaps really struggling to explore the person's mind that he's rooting around in. And then we have him holding his hand out moving more stuff around with his telekinetic abilities. And then finally, we've got Professor X there with his Cerebro helmet on, tracking down new mutants to go and help out. So yeah, lovely set of cards. And then of course this one here is the one that replicates, the image that replicates the minifigure. And once again, lovely piece of kit there. I love the bulk that they've put into the floating chair, you know, that is really synonymous with the character. They could very well have gone with it, like, you know, a House of X, Power of X, walking on 2 feet version of Professor X, but they've gone with the classic look and feel. And yeah, just another lovely sculpt. I'm really pleased, really happy with the Professor X, as I have been with all of them so far. Next up is Jean Grey, another OG member of the founding team, and like all the others, as a hero card, she's coming with a little hero deck here. Got the coloured background and the character image on there, and then a number of in-game actions that the cards initiate. So there's Jean Grey flying into action, as indicated by the dynamic movement lines behind her. We've got Jean Grey using her psionic abilities there, like a little psionic blast. There's Jean Grey using her telekinesis to move some lumps of rock around. And then we've got, I think it's the telepathy. Yeah, there it is. There's the telepathy card, as indicated by the little flash of telepathic energy on her forehead. And, of course, the fact she's holding her temples. So, yeah, there we go. There's Jean Grey in the hero deck. And another, as you can see, rotating around over there, another great minifig sculpt. The big Jean Grey hair, amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing some folks, their paint jobs and what they've done with that big, wavy, classic Jean Grey flash of scarlet hair there. So there you go, Jean Grey. Okay, here's now Hank McCoy, otherwise known as Beast, another OG founding member of the team. Here's his hero deck, with that kind of yellow background on this one, and the Beast at the forefront. Again, gone with the kind of classic 90s onward image of the big furry beast that we all know and love. Let's have a look at the artwork on the cards. Here's Beast leaping into combat with his claws out, ready to do some damage. We've got Beast here doing a little beast bounce thing, acrobatic maneuver over a stone. We have the Beast that is the card art that replicates the minifigure there. And then we've got, here it is, the card Genius Intelligence hanging from the ceiling with his iPad doing sciencey things, being the brains of the operation. So yeah, and again, you know, not to labour the point, but lots of lovely detail on the minifigure. The fur, particularly, like how they've managed to communicate the furriness of the character, I think is really quite impressive. So I hope you enjoy the closer look as he's rotating around over there. Okay, so we've got Wolverine now, the best at what he does, obviously moulded in the blue mould as a hero and with a little hero deck, again with the coloured background and the character art on the card. Let's have a look at the artwork on the other side, on the action side. We've got this one here, Healing Factor, which is a starting hand card, in fact, but there's a better look at the Healing Factor artwork with his arms across his chest and his claws out in a protective way. Although I do kind of look at that and think about, you know, is he popping his claws in a bar there to intimidate a drunk who said something rather unpleasant about mutants? I don't know. You make your own mind up. So there's that. Then we've got Wolverine leaping into action, claws drawn, ready to do some stabby, you know, slicey-dicey Wolverine-y stuff. We've then got the card art here, which replicates the minifigure there, of course. Again, claws out, ready to do slicey-dicey, stabby stuff. And then the last one, oh no, wait, I think that one there, sorry, is the one that replicates the minifigure over there. So yeah, lovely artwork once again, and another wonderful minifigure. Yeah, really wonderful minifigure. And then just a quick closer look at the last of the heroes in the blue mould there. It's Storm, with her own little hero deck, once again with the coloured background and the character artwork. Let's have a quick look at the artwork on the main body of the card. We've got another kind of leaping it into action piece of artwork there with Storm. Bit of lightning, very synonymous with the character there. Shocking some villains. What else we got? Oh, more lightning. Firing off her lightning storm. Again, just one observation once again, gone for the very classic 90s look, white uniform Storm here with the big hair once again. And then we've got the Storm here that replicates the minifigure over there. Into action. This minifigure in particular is one, I know I've mentioned it a few times, but I love how they really sell the motion and the energy of leaping into action. You know, it's a combat-driven game where the heroes are battling the villains, and this one particularly, I like the way her cloak is kind of flapping out behind her, really indicating that motion, that movement, that energy, that thick of it kind of stuff. Yeah, really good minifigure once again there. Moving on to the villains now then, and we've got Sabretooth rotating around for you over there to take a closer look at the minifigure. He is a villain, 100%, just total villain. That's the only function he plays in the game, so he's in the red mould there, unlike the anti-heroes, as I mentioned earlier, that can fit in either side of the game. So he has a villain deck with his villain actions there. Regenerative factor, hunter senses, etc, etc. Got the threats deck here for him, and then his villain card. His villain card here with his special setup information, and then his special rules and such like on the other side. I have to admit that of all the minifigures, this one particularly caught my eye. I like the flowing fur and the detail in his hair and his sideburns. I think it's a lovely figure, this one. I mean, they've all been lovely so far. I'm very impressed with the attention to detail and the sculpt on the minifigures, but this one caught my eye in particular. I think it really sells that kind of nasty piece of work that Sabretooth really is. The second of the villains in the core box set is Juggernaut there. I've got him rotating around so that you can take a closer look at the minifigure. He's got his villain card here with the hero starting tokens outlined, and then his special rules and such like on the back. He's got a villain deck like all the other villains with his villainous actions, Unstoppable Charge and Crimson Cosmo Armor here, and then his threat deck, and I'm sure you'll agree, another lovely minifigure doing his Unstoppable Charge, his head first approach. Now, one thing Juggernaut does illustrate... Oh, he's a bit offline on the camera there. There you go, Juggernaut. Get yourself in shot a bit better. One thing that Juggernaut does illustrate that I've not mentioned so much with this set, but is evident as you look at all the minifigures as a whole, is that they've really paid attention to scale. Juggernaut is a big old beefy, imposing figure of a guy with a massive, you know, helmet for smashing through walls and his opponents, and so the scale is right. You know, he does look like the big beefy boy that he is. And I don't know if you notice, Sabretooth is a little bit beefier compared to, say, Wolverine, who's traditionally in the comic books been described as being a lot shorter and stuntier than many other characters, and some of the more younger characters a bit later on in some of the other vids you'll see in the figures. You know, the scale's right, and I really appreciate that. I think that's a nice little touch for when you're playing your figures out on the tabletop. I really appreciate that. So there we go. Anyway, Juggernaut, big old unstoppable charging villainous nutbag. Well, folks, that brings me to the end of part 1 of my Marvel United X-Men game coverage. The second instalment will be coming soon, and that will be looking at the Blue Team expansion box, so make sure you tune in for that. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, then make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell, so if you want to see the next instalment, you don't miss out. Also, if you've enjoyed this unboxing today, then please do take a moment to give me a thumbs up. It takes just a second for you, but it means ever so much for me. It really helps me know I'm going in the right direction, and my efforts are appreciated. And while I'm on that note, if you've enjoyed the unboxing today, then drop down into the comments down below and offer me some feedback. One thing I'm particularly interested in understanding is whether the close-up cam, whether the closer look at the minifigures there was something that you found useful or not, so please do let me know. Alright then, well, I've been Chris, this is Mod Extra Games and Collectibles, and I hope to see you around these parts again sometime soon. Otherwise, have yourself a really tremendous day. Okay, see you later, folks.